Tonight on CTV News, it's all about Cup Day. We have all the action from Addington Raceway. Investigations into the MV2 Hoi have wrapped up with no one to blame for the stricken ship, and these animals are getting set for centre stage. Kia ora, good evening. Australian raider Arden Rooney's taken out the $750,000 Christchurch Casino New Zealand Trotting Cup at Addington a short time ago, with close to 22,500 people getting spruced up and cheering on their runner in one of Canterbury's biggest social occasions. We'll have the final moments of the race later on in the bulletin, but first here's Chelsea Daniels, who filed this report.
The country's biggest racing day went according to the normal script again this year. Lots of punting, great fashion and of course lots of eating and drinking for the New Zealand Trotting Cup at Addington.
Can't wait for the big race, it's going to be a good
Maverick,
one.
go Maverick!
Is that who you voted for?
Yeah, we don't joke. No. This is brown sugar. Yep.
Oh, interesting, yes.
That's one word for it.
Yeah, very nice. Some pretty good examples there.
We've got a friend in the Best Dressed Man competition, and he's just taken off because he saw a camera, but we're rooting for him, yeah.
It's been awesome. Such a beautiful day for it as well.
Not only was there racing and drinking on the menu today, but body painting, as the ZM Body Art Competition brought out the very best of body painters.
This has been my goal since I started makeup artistry in 2011, and I'm absolutely ecstatic.
Winner Stacey Goodall has entered the event every year since 2011, and her winning design incorporated everything Kiwi.
Mum came up with the idea. She was like, you should do a Kiwi Ana design, and I thought, yeah, everyone's going to relate. I'll make it fun and colourful.
The body painting took 8.5 hours, and guidelines state no more than 10% of the body should be covered by clothing.
It's amazing. It's a wonderful experience to be able to do.
But it wasn't all about the ladies who were undressed. There was, of course, the Westfield Riccarton Style Stakes for the best dressed man and woman. The ladies and gentlemen picked for the finals spent a lot of time and effort to dress to impress.
Months of preparation, yeah.
Where did you get your dress from?
ASOS on sale.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. Getting in front of all those people, definitely.
I bought my dress from Trellis Cooper, and the hat was designed in Cambridge.
Bit of the old time. I've got a bit of face for an old time, so, you know.
I went along to a store in Sydney, to Herringbone over there, and just said, this is my suit, what can you do for me?
As for the winners though, Best Dressed Lady went to Maria White, who opted for a classic white dress and matching hat.
Maria is, as you can see, she's incredibly elegant. Her deportment is flawless. Her execution and the detailing through her work is beautiful, and I'm really happy with the runner-up. Just some beautiful, bold, just a really beautiful, bold take on things, and I really loved her headpiece.
As the overall winner, Maria wins multiple prizes to make anyone envious, including a trip for two to Rarotonga or Fiji, courtesy of Air New Zealand, a Westfield Riccarton voucher worth $1,500, and white gold stud earrings worth over $3,000. Best Dressed Man went to Peter Gruby, who also wins over $3,000 worth of prizes. Cup and Show Week now moves into tomorrow with the second day of the gallops at Riccarton and the start of the AMP show. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Well, to today's other news now, new evidence suggests a wave was to blame for the grounding of the MV2 Hoi following an investigation into the vessel. An inquiry has now wrapped up after nearly 2 months since the ship became beached at the Waimakariri River mouth. A maritime New Zealand investigation shows no one's to blame for the grounding into the 96-year-old ship. An inquiry confirms the vessel was appropriately manned back in September when the MV2 Hoi ran aground. In a statement, Maritime New Zealand says after speaking to crew members, the Tūhoe was entering the river through a channel to the south of the main bar when her bow veered to port, resulting in her grounding on the beach. They say there was no established reason for the bow veering to port, but they believe a wave could have hit the starboard side. The ship was returning home to Kaiapoi after nearly $250,000 worth of repairs were completed to keep it afloat, but the vessel became stranded, couldn't be saved and was deconstructed. The investigation also found the bar crossing carries hazards to all vessels, with the Tūhoe being difficult to steer and not having had enough power to get it through. MV Tūhoe Trust Chair Philip Redmond couldn't appear on camera today, but told CTV News he's pleased with the outcome. He says no other issues were raised in the investigation and now they can move on. Maritime New Zealand says they won't carry out any further investigations, but its hope pieces of the wreckage will live on through a display in Kaiapoi. It's been confirmed local polytechs CPIT and Aoraki will merge under one roof. Tertiary Education, Skills and Employment Minister Stephen Joyce gave the go-ahead today for the two campuses to come together. It's expected there would be some job losses in the move, and the new polytech will begin operation in the new year under a new name yet to be announced. Well, a number of residents' properties that moved due to the earthquakes have been left on shaky ground as their fences no longer line up with the official boundaries on their sections. Gabrielle Stewart explains.
This is a South Brighton resident's backyard pizza oven and garden shed, but technically it's now on a council domain. And fixing the problem isn't as simple as just moving a fence.
I would have to move my fence half the way through the driveway of my neighbours. So my neighbour could only have a bicycle. He couldn't get his car through there.
Causing a domino effect for other residents in the area. Up to 300 homeowners in Christchurch are stuck in the same boat. They've been left in limbo without enough information to make decisions.
They have been appalling, to say the least. I've seen, misinformation published, outdated information referred to, and the authorities are not recognising what has happened here.
Under the current rules, the legal boundaries still stand no matter how much your property is moved. But Parliament's currently looking at changing the laws so the new boundaries would be made official. And although Kristinsson's glad the government's doing something now, he's not celebrating yet.
It will simplify some of the mess, but this situation is not excusable 5 years on. We're into the 6th year, and I don't even know where the boundary is. They have to deal with this problem one way or the other, either move the property or amend the law.
The bill passed its first reading and public submissions on the issue will close in January. Until then, Kristinsson and others like him will just have to wait. Gabrielle Stewart, CTV News.
Well, still to come, your neighbourhood news. Welcome back to CTV News. It's not only the races and the fashion that'll take centre stage this week, but the AMP show is also an important week for farmers at the Canterbury Agricultural Park, and reporter Tanya Green caught up with some of the rare breeds.
To the ordinary eye, these look like cattle, pigs and sheep. But these are some of Willowbank's very special animals. The rare breeds are being showcased at this year's AMP show to teach people just how important they really are.
Most people don't understand the value of livestock. They understand conserving kiwis and things like that. That sort of is standard. But few people realise the benefit of and the risk of losing the livestock breeds. You lose the livestock breeds and you lose communities. You lose a whole range of agricultural potential.
Michael has been in the rare breeds game for a long time. He says in many respects, animals like these are just as important as the kiwi.
It's really an animal which is, well, some of them are barely sustainable, but there is various categories, but a lot of them are down to less than 100 animals. And so they're rarer. A lot of the animals in New Zealand are actually rarer than kiwi and takahe and tuatara and so on. So most of them are at a critical state.
It's a long process for Willowbank leading up to show day. Preparations begin months in advance, and Michael's job is to make sure the animals are looking their best.
There's some preparation to make sure they're looking in good condition, so that has to be done a month or so beforehand. You start to feed them up, you start to get them used to being handled and so on, so there's a lot of animal preparation.
This year, Willowbank are providing around half of the rare breeds on display at the show. And there's all sorts, from some cute and fluffies to the more runty kind.
There's probably about 10 different breeds of sheep, 4 different breeds of cattle, 4 different breeds of horses, range of chooks and ducks and geese and so on, rabbits. So there's actually a wide range of animals that people would never have seen before.
You can catch a glimpse of these rare beauties all week at this year's AMP show. Tanya Green, CTV News.
Their over a century-old building was damaged in the quakes, but now a local Whole Foods supply is back in action on its original site. Chelsea Daniels reports.
PIKO Whole Foods are finally home, moving back into their original location on the corner of Kilmore and Barbados Streets this week. The 110-year-old building was devastated by the February 2011 quake, and there were fears for the history and old-world charm of PIKO's. Thankfully, though, memories of PIKO's past were salvaged and hold a new place in the refurbished building.
We had 2 days, just him and I, in which we pulled out quite a lot of stuff, quite a bit of stained glass window and shelving, our oven, all sorts of things. So we saved quite a bit and we've brought most of that back.
2 murals that were recovered from the red zone wreckage have been brought back to life. One previously held prime position on the side of PIKO's since its beginning in 1979.
One of them was on the outside of the building, so when the building got demolished, all the debris came down on top of it. And then there was another window of opportunity where we could get that off the wall, which was a real job actually, it kind of fused to the wall. And the other one was on the inside of the shop in the front shop window, and that's still got some of the silver paint on it that when SARS came along and said the building had been checked, which they wrote in silver spray paint, it's still got some of that on it. Yeah, they're really special.
Along with flashy architectural design, the refurbished PIKO prides itself in sustainability. 5.2 kilowatts of solar panels adorn the shop's roof, and inside the aisles are lined with ply and organically farmed cedar wood.
The building is already working really well as far as energy, and yes, and we're really happy with it.
The building is designed for sun and natural light, with low energy lighting systems and thermal mass in the floor to regulate inside temperatures.
Our builders loved working on it because they were working with wood and it was a nice building to build, and it's been exciting for the architects because we had lines in the sand. We kept thinking we were difficult customers, but yeah, they just loved building, having the scope and being able to use the natural materials as well.
PIKO specialises in whole foods, foods that are as unprocessed as possible, as well as organics. Since February 2011, PIKO's has donated over $60,000 to community groups around Christchurch, supporting a diverse range of organisations. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
It's still a tight race between the two Kyle Lockwood flags, according to a new survey out, asking 1,000 New Zealanders how they would rank the alternative options ahead of the first referendum this month. The latest results from UMR research shows the red and blue Lockwood fern design slightly ahead on 35%, dropping 1 point from last month's survey, with the blue and black fern narrowly behind on 33%. Red Peak takes third spot on 17, followed by the black and white fern and Kolu design. The margin of error is 3.1%. Now let's cross to Andrew King in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
Thanks, Jared. The most dangerous intersection in the northwest of the city has been revealed to be Melvin Street and Roosevelt Ave in St Albans. The intersection had 8 crashes in the last 5 years, with 2 of them being serious. Christchurch City Council traffic engineer Penny Gray says people didn't seem aware of the intersection, and the upgrade will help with motorist visibility. The Shirley Papanui Community Board has plans to make it safer and has approved $55,000 for upgrades. Selwyn residents could be staring down the barrel of a second consecutive summer of water restrictions. Selwyn District Council is urging residents to use water carefully, with El Nino weather conditions forecast to continue their grip on Canterbury. It warns that if demand for water increases, restrictions on when people can water their lawns are likely. Rainfall levels have been significantly lower than normal this year, and monitoring has found groundwater levels and river flows are showing signs of stress. Rawiri school students will look sharp next year in their new uniform. Last week, the school's PTA revealed the new look. It's been almost a year since the school was created. Central New Brighton, Freeville and North New Brighton schools merged in the government shake-up of education after the February 2011 earthquake. The uniform, mainly purple with splashes of orange, features their new school logo, 3 ferns crossing over an orange background. Part of Sydenham Cemetery has become overgrown because it is too wet to mow. Damaged pipes have meant part of the cemetery has been flooding and it hasn't been mown since the second week of October. Council staff visited the site on Friday to decide on a solution. Council contractors will begin line trimming the wet areas to keep it maintained while the pipes are repaired and the ground dries out. Long-standing Hoon Hay Children's Library volunteer Laura Holland has been recognised for her work nearly a year after the community facility closed its doors. She served 49 years as a librarian there from the day it opened in 1966 to the day it closed in December. A special ceremony was held at her retirement village on Wednesday to present her with a Community Service Award. She could not attend the awards ceremony in July. Miss Holland was joined by fellow library volunteers Merle Lepper and June Hulme, who served 49 and 47 years respectively. From the newsroom, I'm Andrew King.
Thanks for that, Andrew. We're still to come here on CTV News, Sport and your region's weather forecast. Welcome back. Now here's Gordon Findlater with the latest in local sport.
Well, Lee Gibbs has become what's fair to say a piece of netballing furniture in New Zealand over the years. However, the former Silver Ferns player and coach has finally been lured across the ditch. Gibbs will leave her high-performance post with Mainland Netball at the end of the month to take up a position with Netball Queensland as General Manager of Community and Sport Development. Gibbs will begin her new venture in Brisbane in December, and it's the chance to work with an organisation the size of Netball New Zealand that has lured the sought-after coach.
I've always really enjoyed growing and understanding when young people first start playing the game, so I'm quite excited about that change, but also with the high performance experience, understanding the links between the two is really important, and I think that's something I'm looking forward to.
Gibbs has had a big influence on netball in Canterbury over the years, and she will take special memories away from her various roles in the region.
Seeing the development of our players and seeing them go on and coaches to represent New Zealand, I'm really delighted Julie Seymour has just been appointed our National Under-21s assistant coach. That's really a vindication of things are going well for the opportunities that we provide in this area.
It's been tough going for netball fans in Canterbury in recent years, with the Tactics, formerly coached by Gibbs, struggling in the Trans-Tasman League. However, the departing coach believes platforms are in place for the franchise to improve.
Tactics have struggled, I guess, and that can only mean one way up, and I believe we're making small increments and may not be seen immediately, but just really pleased with the performance programs that we are developing and growing, both player development and coach development, and ultimately we need umpire development too.
It's also been a while since Canterbury has had a homegrown girl to cheer for in the Silver Ferns, something we're all hoping can change in the near future.
Yes, I believe so. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. ANZ has changed the landscape. Players move around a lot more. I think in our Flames time, they were more from this area, and it was very unusual for young people to come into play in what at that time wasn't professional. So it's, just shaking the landscape up a bit.
Gibbs's attention will now turn to her new role in Queensland, and unlike many Kiwis that make the move across the ditch, she reckons she'll miss our Christchurch winters.
Funny enough, I actually don't mind them. I've came through as a player when we used to do all our training outside, so I actually love the winters. I will miss them because of the nature of, you get the 4 seasons and, that aspect I'm actually going to miss.
And finally tonight, the White Ferns completed another dominant performance against Sri Lanka in Lincoln today. The Sri Lankans won the toss and elected to bat first, and it was only captain Jayan Ghani who put up any fight with 56 runs as her team were dismissed for 126th in the 47th over. The White Ferns then made easy work of the Sri Lankan total, with the opening pair of Susie Bates and Amy Satterthwaite completing the job in just 18.5 overs. The White Ferns now lead the one-day series 4-0, with the 5th and final match at Hagley Oval on Friday. Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks for that, Gordon. Now here's Mercy with your region's weather. It was a much cooler day today than expected.
Thanks, Jared. And no, it didn't get to the expected 25 degrees out there today. However, it was still a nice day. Plenty of sunshine for Cup Day and Christchurch, and very warm across the rest of the Canterbury region. South Canterbury 27 for you, Twizel, 24 for Temuka and Geraldine. Central Canterbury now, unfortunately, Christchurch, you didn't reach that 25. You actually had a high of 17 today. A little bit of a chilly wind out there. 24 for Akaroa and Methven, and 25 for Darfield. Heading further north, Kaikoura, lovely and warm, 22 for you, 24 for Cheviot, Amberley, Culverden and Oxford taking out 26, and Rangiora on 25. Over to the Alpine region now, 20 for you, Mount Cook, and 19 for Arthur's Pass. Fortunately, tomorrow the weather takes a little bit of a dive. Temperatures definitely lower than they were today. Just 12 degrees for you, Timaru, rain especially in the morning and afternoon. Southerly winds pretty chilly. Ashburton, cloudy skies and a bit bleak out there, unfortunately, for your Wednesday. 11 degrees for your high and 6 for your overnight low. Christchurch, definitely colder out there than it was today. 13 degrees with southerly winds and rain throughout the day as well, but that should be easing off by the evening. Kaikoura, could be a little bit of snow, lowering to above 800 metres for you. 15 degrees for your high, 6 for that chilly morning start. South Canterbury for tomorrow, you can also expect that rain, not hitting you quite as hard as it is hitting Central Canterbury and further north though. You guys will be seeing that rain a lot more persistent, southerly winds cooling those temps, and 11 degrees for Methven there, 14 for Darfield. Heading further north now, similar trend up here. Places in the high country may even see a bit of snow, lowering above the 800 metre mark. Southerly winds for all of you, so get your warm layers on. 12 degrees for Oxford, Cheviot and Hamner Springs. Alpine region, 8-degree trend here, and southerly winds with rain for all of you as well. Looking ahead to the upcoming days for the major centres. Thursday, southerly winds again, and they could be quite strong, gusty gale southerly winds expected, so watch out for those. We are seeing it might fine up though Thursday afternoon and evening. Let's hope it does. On Friday, gets a lot better. Sunny skies, these southwesterlies, they'll be dying off by midday, and light winds and a few northeasterlies. Looking ahead for the rest of the Canterbury region on Thursday, as I mentioned before, these winds, they could be quite strong, so watch out for those southerlies, rainy patches, and we are hoping it is clearing by the afternoon. On Friday, it's much more settled and dry. Sunny skies, good way to end the working week. Southwesterly winds dying out as the day goes on. So looking ahead, unfortunately, we are expecting that rain and those cold temperatures tomorrow and Thursday. However, on Friday is coming out lovely and fine. And that's your update for Tuesday. Back to you, Jared, and don't forget your brolly tomorrow.
I'll try not to forget, I promise. And that is CTV News for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. We leave you now with today's New Zealand Trotting Cup, won by Arden Rooney. Have a great evening.
2.5 lengths clear. Over in second spot, Smolder. Mossdale Connors on the inside from Franco. Nelson working into the clear. Sky Major can't win. Third quarter, 27.1. And the leader is Arden Rooney. Margin a length and a half to 2. Mossdale Connor. Smolder still coming from Franco Nelson. Arden Rooney leads. Smolder's a length away. Arden Rooney, Smolder. Arden Rooney a neck. Smolder is trying hard. It's still Arden Rooney kicking, and the goal from Great Western creates history. Arden Rooney beats Smolder and Mosdale Connor. Next in Franco Nelson Massini. Next in Ahoka punter Tiger Tara. Cause and terror, no doctor needed. Choice achiever.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.